I'm going to explain the concept of karma and how karma intersects with temporality, or what is the relationship between time and karma. Now, karma is a very simple concept, and it simply means that you cannot escape what you do. If you do good, good is going to happen to you. And if you do bad, bad is going to happen to you. And if you do nothing, nothing is going to happen to you. That's a remarkable concept, which is present in all civilizations, all cultures, and all religions of the world. Karma is mostly associated with the religions in South Asia, like Hinduism. But I think karma is a universal concept, and it has similar meanings in almost every tradition and every concept of reward and punishment. So I would explain that how karma is present in different religious traditions, and how far the notion of karma is relevant to human morality and a concept of fairness. Now, karma, as I explained, is a simple paradigm that human beings, whatever they do, they get a reward or a punishment for what they do. And I think it has been expressed also in very popular phrases like what goes around comes around. That is a definition of karma also. That you simply cannot commit an act and escape from it. If you believe that you would neither get any reward nor any punishment for what you do, that your deeds, are reward neutral or punishment neutral, then maybe you don't believe in the concept of karma. But if you believe that whatever you do is going to have an impact on your own life, let alone on the life of others, but on your own life, then you believe in the concept of karma. I would explain that there are three kinds of karma, or three notions of karma, which are present in different religious traditions. Now, please understand that karma is present in each and every main religious tradition. So the first relationship that I see between karma and temporality is what I call karma and monotemporality. Now, that simply means that whatever you do, you are going to be punished and rewarded in this particular life. So, the notion of karma operates within the lifespan of the individual. So, what you do today, you might be rewarded and punished for it tomorrow or maybe 5 years from now, but you will be rewarded and punished in your life. So that is one concept of karma, and I call it monotemporality because there's only one concept of temporality, one time, and that is your lifespan. So if you do good, you're gonna get good in your life, this particular life. And if you do bad, you will get a punishment for that in this particular life. Now, the whole concept of criminal law, I would say, is based on monotemporality karma, because if you commit a crime, you are going to be punished in this life. You may be punished by imprisonment, you may be punished by a fine, you may be punished by withdrawal of some benefit from you. But whatever the punishment is, you are given that punishment in this life. Dead bodies are not punished under criminal law. So criminal law is a classical example, which is universal. I think every legal system, the notion of criminal law is that if you commit crime, if you do something bad, then something bad is going to happen to you. The more serious the crime, the more the punishment you will get. So the entire notion of criminal law is based on monotemporality, that this particular life is the one where you will be punished. Now, similarly, I think there are many things that are rewarded in this particular life. So the whole notion of compensation, that if you work, you're going to be compensated in this particular in this particular life. So you perform work and you're paid either weekly or monthly or daily, depending on the nature of your work. So the compensation is given not only in this life, but rather more promptly, soon after you finish your work, or work is defined in terms of a week or a month or a day. So again, we see that under monotemporality, the concept of karma is confined to one life, that you will get your rewards and your punishments in this particular life. Now, even in addition to law, you find that even social customs reward and punish in this particular life. For example, if you do something which is not socially desirable, people will disapprove of what you're doing right away, or maybe within a very short span of time. So we find that social morality or social ethics or social behavior, they all are based on the concept of karma, that if you do good, it is going to be rewarded either with some material benefit or with some sort of social approval. And if you do something bad, then you are going to be punished socially. For example, your friends may refuse to see you if you violate the ethics of friendship. If you betray someone, then that person is not going to be friendly to you anymore. So your betrayal, even though it may not have a legal consequence, it does have a social consequence. And that social consequence is given to you in this particular life. And as I said, very often the reward and punishment, they are either contemporaneous or they are very closely related in time to your good and bad deeds. Now, if you believe that this is the only life you have, and there is no second life, or you will not be born again, or your soul will never be reincarnated, that you would never come in any other form of life again, that this is the only life that you have, then of course you may still accept the concept of karma and say to yourself that even though I'm not going to be coming again in any form of life, but whatever I do in this life, good and bad, I am going to get the rewards and punishments before I die. Now, if you believe in such a notion of karma, then you are going to be very careful before you do something bad, and you'll be very happy to do something good, because you expect if you do something good, that good is going to happen to you. And if you do something bad, you're going to, fear that something bad is going to happen to you. So either way, even though you believe only one life, maybe you don't believe in God, maybe you don't believe in any religion, and you just think that you are a life form, an organism with a very limited span of life, but nevertheless, in this particular life, the human system, or the natural system for that matter, they're so set up that you simply cannot escape your behavior. And if you do believe in that, if you think you can do something bad and get away with it, and the only thing you have to do is not get caught, then I think your notion of criminality is going to be very different. Then you're going to commit crimes, and you're going to commit socially undesirable things, making sure that you don't leave behind any evidence. So if you steal, or if you, betray your friends, or if you cheat in a marital relationship, I think your focus is more on hiding the evidence of your bad behavior rather than feeling that you will be punished, regardless of whether you obliterate the evidence or not. So karma would, under karma, you would think that even if you destroy all the evidence of your crime, or all the evidence of your bad behavior, you're still going to be punished for it. That is karma. But if you think that the punishment is only going to come if there is enough evidence that you leave behind, then your mind is thinking not about karma, but your mind is thinking more in terms of cause and effect, and it has some naive, notion that retribution or punishment comes only when there is evidence and proof. That might be true in the realm of law, but it is not true in the realm of karma. Karma means that there is some grand intelligence that doesn't need proof, because it knows when some bad thing happens, or when somebody is committing something horrible, even though there is no evidence, but this grand intelligence will provide a punishment to that person for that bad behavior. So monotemporality, there's only one life, and all rewards and punishments are going to be forthcoming in this particular life, is one notion of karma, and I call it karma in the context of monotemporality, or karma in one life. I think if you're secular, if you don't believe in any religion, if you don't believe in life hereafter, if you don't believe in reincarnation, then you might believe in monotemporality, and you might believe karma in the context of monotemporality. Now, the second notion of karma is what I call bitemporality. Karma in the context of bitemporality. It is a little awkward phrase, but I think it explains the concept. Now, by bitemporality, I mean that you will have two lives. So, monotemporality is one life, and bitemporality is that you will have two lives. One, this particular life, and then the life hereafter. I think under some Middle Eastern religions, in Christianity and Islam, for example, you have the notion of bitemporality, that there is this life and then there's a life hereafter. So there are two lives. And what you do in this life is going to be relevant in the second life. So the whole concept of paradise and hell, they have been constructed on the concept of karma. So what you do in this life is going to come back to you. That's the definition of karma. That whatever you do, it will come back to you, either in the form of a reward or in the form of a punishment. So under Islam and Christianity particularly, what you do in this life is going to come back to you in the second life. And you will be judged for your behavior in this particular life, in the worldly life or in the earthly life, or in the life of the dunya, in the concept of Islam. And we have dunya and akhirah. Dunya is this life, and akhirah is the next life, which is forever. So this life is limited, but the second life is unlimited. So whatever you do in this limited life is going to affect your unlimited life. So if you are a good person and if you have been doing good, then you will be rewarded accordingly, and your second life is going to be good, and maybe you will live forever in the paradise. But if you have been bad in this particular life, then you will be punished for this bad behavior in your second life, and maybe you will be thrown into hell, and there you will spend either your entire second life forever in hell, or maybe there will be some forgiveness after you have done your time in hell. But nevertheless, the concept of karma is there. So this is karma. But the difference is that in monotemporality, in one life karma, the rewards and punishments are happening in the same life. Whereas in bitemporality, or in two lives karma, the rewards and punishments are postponed to the second life. Now, of course, you may have a combination of both. You may say that karma acts both in this life as well as in the second life. So some of your rewards and punishments will be given to you in this life, and some of your rewards and punishments will be given to you in the second life. So you could combine monotemporality with bitemporality and construct a more complex concept of karma, which is that karma is functional in this life, and it is also operative in the life hereafter. So both. Or you could simply believe that all karma will occur in this life, or all karma will occur in the life hereafter. So either one or the other, or a combination of both. Now, the third concept of karma is what I call multi-temporal, and that is related to the concept of reincarnation. And it is mostly Hindu belief that Hindu and other religions in India and then in other countries that are influenced by Hinduism, they might believe that a soul has several reincarnations. That maybe you'll come as an animal, then you'll come as a human being, and then your third life will be again as a human being. I think it's not clear. There's a lot of variety in the theories of reincarnation. But one thing is certain, that this life is not the only life that is given to a soul or a spirit. You will have many successive lives. Actually, nirvana or the ultimate achievement might be that you get rid of the cycles of life. So I think that's a very interesting notion, that in the Middle Eastern religions we find that the ideal is that you will have a second life which would last forever. Whereas in Indian religions, the ultimate achievement is not to be. So in the Middle East, the ultimate achievement is to be forever in paradise. But in Indian religions, the ultimate achievement is not to be forever. You come out of the cycles of life and you become part of the grand intelligence and grand consciousness. So it's almost merger with God, if you will, that your ultimate achievement or your ultimate goal is to merge with God and therefore escape from the cycle of lives, which is not a gift, but maybe a test. Whereas I think in Middle Eastern religions, this life is a test for the second life. And also a gift. This life is a gift and is a test. So multi-temporality and karma is that whatever you do in this life is going to affect your next life, which will be on this planet. So let's say that you were born before as a human being, and now this is your second trip to the planet as a human being. So whatever you did in your first trip to the planet is going to affect your second trip to the planet. And I think there are fascinating theories of karma in the concept of reincarnation. For example, there are stories that, for example, one person went to the Swami and said, whatever I read, I forget. No matter how carefully I read a book, I simply cannot retain anything. And the Swami told him that this is because of karma. And the person said, what did I do in my previous life? And the Swami said, you killed a teacher. And this is the punishment that you're getting in your second life. That because you killed the teacher in the first life, the punishment for that is that knowledge is now denied to you. Because teacher is the source of knowledge. And because you killed the teacher in your first life, so you killed the source of knowledge. And now when you are reincarnated in your second life, that behavior, that act, that deed is going to influence your life, your second trip, or your second life, and now knowledge has been denied to you because of the what you did in your first life. So, now distinguish between multi-temporality karma. Multi-temporality karma is that karma is constantly working on you. That in every form of life, in every trip, whatever form you are in, whether you are in the form of an animal or in the form of a plant or in the form of a human being, whatever form of life you have acquired, this form of life is going to be influenced by the karma or what you did in your previous life. Now, this multi-temporality karma is different from bitemporality karma, because in bitemporality karma, this life is not affected by anything that you have done before. So in bitemporality or in two lives karma, this life is the first life that you have. And you did not have a life before this particular life. So you don't come with a baggage, or you don't come with a suitcase of sins. You come as an innocent blank slate. You have not been wronged, and it is totally up to you to behave and construct your second life. So I think under bitemporality, we find that there is a lot of human freedom given to the individuals. That you're born with a clean slate, you are not bringing any burdens of a prior life, and of course the burdens of your parents are not inflicted on you. You're an autonomous individual, born with a clean slate, and without any burdens, without any prior good and bad, and it is up to you to fashion your life, whether it is 50 years, 60 years, or 100 years or more, whatever lifespan you have been given, you have the complete freedom to live this life and determine the life hereafter. This is Islam, and this is bitemporality karma. That of course you will be responsible for what you do in this life, partly here and partly in the second life. But this is your only life to determine your next life, which is going to be forever. Now, in monotemporality karma, where you have only one life and you're never going to come back in any form and shape, and there's no hell and heaven, and you will never be judged for what you have done in this particular life, again, you have a lot of freedom. And there is no prior life that you had, and therefore, when you were born, you didn't come with any good and bad burdens, with rewards and punishments. You were born with a clean slate, and therefore, whatever you do in this life will come back to you in this life. That is monotemporality. That this particular life is all you have, but don't think that what you do is not going to come back to you. So monotemporality karma or one life karma, it also gives you a lot of freedom, but it says that your rewards and punishments are going to be given to you, or you will get those rewards and punishment in this particular life. For example, if you do something bad, maybe you'll get sick. If you steal money, maybe something bad will happen to you, either mentally or financially or socially or physically. Some bad will happen to you if you do something bad in this life. But once you are dead, then you're done. And you will not be born again, you will not be reincarnated, there's no life hereafter. So the whole thing finishes when you die. Now we find that in multi-temporality karma, like in Hinduism, you are not born with a clean slate. You are not born innocent. And you are not born without a prior record. So you always live on this planet with a prior record. And that prior record is inescapable. And it is not a dead prior record. It's not a prior record that has been expunged. Or it's not a prior record that has no relevance to this life. In fact, that prior record is very active. And your deeds and your fortune and your social outcomes and your social station, all these things are affected by your prior record. So you're not born free, you're not born innocent. Either you're born with a lot of goodness or with a lot of badness, and in most cases probably with a mixed record. Because if you were purely good, you would never be born again, and you will become part of, cosmic intelligence. You will become part of Godhood, or you will become God. So that is the concept of multi-temporality karma, that you always have a prior record. So now distinguish that in monotemporality there's no prior record, in bitemporality there's no prior record, but in multitemporality karma there is a prior record. In one life karma, all your rewards and punishments are given to you in this life. In bitemporality karma, in Middle Eastern religions, Islam and Christianity particularly, your karma will affect your second life. You will go to paradise or to hell according to what you have done in this life. And in Hinduism, you're always under the power of karma. You cannot escape karma. Now, I don't think Hinduism would say that karma, what you do in this life, cannot quickly come back to you. I think in all three cases, perhaps, what you do in this life, good and bad, will come back to you in this life. I think that's perhaps common in all three notions of karma. It is very strong in the monotemporality karma, because there, whatever you do is going to come back to you in this life. In bitemporality karma, some of it is going to come back in this life, but most of it is going to come back in the second life, which is forever. And there's no reincarnation repeatedly under bitemporality karma. Only 2 lives, and the first life determines the second life. Whereas under Hinduism, there is a cycle of lives, there is a repetition of lives, and you are coming to the planet over and over again. And each time you come with a prior record. And you will keep coming to this planet until you become good, and until you become part of goodness and part of God. Until that achievement, you will keep coming back to this world with a prior record. Now, under these three notions of karma, I think you will find that the practical human systems, and particularly law, they are based on monotemporality karma. I think law is very much confined to this world. And I'm talking about secular law, law made by a government or by a state. That law, whether it is the criminal law, whether it is the law of inheritance, for example, law of inheritance, when you die, your property is going to be distributed to your children or to your relatives, or according to your will, and according to your wishes, depending on which legal system you live. But that distribution is going to occur in this particular world, and there is no next world for the law of inheritance. And similarly, if your rights have been breached, then you want a compensation in this life, in this world. If somebody has discriminated against you, or if somebody has assaulted you, or if somebody has committed a wrong against you, you want a remedy in this life. So we find that the law of contracts, the law of torts, in fact, you name it. I don't want to go through the whole list of subjects of law, but you will find that the entire legal system, the rewards and punishments under the laws, they are based on the concept of karma, but that karma is based on monotemporality. I think it's only religious laws which believe in bitemporality karma or multitemporality karma. So secular law, or the law made by human beings for human beings, you can also call it positive law, that law is based on monotemporality karma. That what you do, good and bad, you will get its reward and punishment here, or should get your reward and punishment here in this world. Now, the notion of karma is very instructive, because whatever notion of karma you have, whether it is monotemporality, bitemporality, or multitemporality, whether it is one life, two lives, or multiple lives, karma regulates your behavior. It affects your mind. You think before you do something bad, because you know either it's going to come back to you right here in this life, or it's going to come back to you in the next life, whether it is life forever or just next life. And I think it pauses your intelligence. It gives you an opportunity to think that whether what you want to do is really something you want to do, because there will be a consequence. You cannot get away with doing something good. With doing something bad. Of course you cannot, even if you do something good, good is going to happen to you. And then we see examples in the real world. For example, someone is very, very nice. They do everything right, but they have a horrible disease. And the people ask, Why is he so ill? Why is he so sick? Why is he in so much pain and suffering? He's so good. We don't see he has done anything bad. And there will be two responses to it. One will be under multi, lives karma. The theory would be, well, he has done something bad in his prior life or in his previous life. So this pain and suffering is because of what he did in the previous life. So that's the explanation under Hinduism. In Islam, the explanation would be that God is testing him, and he's not a bad person, and he's done good, and God will recognize his good. God is testing this person through this disease, but he will be rewarded in the life hereafter, and surely he will live in paradise, even though God knows who will go to paradise. But from what he has done, if he is really good, as he appears to be, then this suffering is only in this world, but the good will come in the next life. So I think when you see that people are suffering in this world who are good people, and when you see that bad people, they have money and they have power and they have prestige and they seem to be having good time, even though, they're killers and they're bad people and they don't believe in any morality. They don't share their wealth or their, blessings with others. So people get very cynical and they say there is no karma, either in this world, and who knows whether there's going to be a next world or not. So I think our observations of the real life give us a very mixed message about karma, because we do see some bad people who are punished. We do see some good people who are rewarded, but we also see some very good people who are suffering and some very bad people who are having good time. So I think human observation of human life, our own, observations about, human life, gives us a very mixed message about karma. And we cannot say for sure whether karma actually exists. At least monotemporality karma does not exist. I think our observation will tell us that the weakest theory of all three, monotemporality, bitemporality, and multi-temporality, I think the weakest notion of karma is the monotemporality karma. Because we see good people, are in pain, and we see that bad people are having fun. So there is no karma in their life, in this life. So I think monotemporality karma is the weakest in observation. So the other two, then bitemporality and multitemporality, it seems like multitemporality karma gives very little freedom to human beings. Even though we don't have the memory of the prior life and we don't know for sure what we did in our prior life, but we are still rewarded and punished for it in our present life. So I think even the multi-temporality karma seems unfair. Unfair, and also it takes away the human freedom, because you're not born with a clean slate. You're not born innocent. You're not born without burdens. And that is why it seems like that the Christianity and Islamic notion of temporality karma appeals to a lot of people. And I think it gives the right message that you're born innocent. Even though in Christianity, I think there's some confusion that there was, the first sin that Adam and Eve committed, and we are suffering because of that original sin. So I think there is some notion of unfreedom under Christianity as well, if you take original sin seriously. But if you believe that you're born innocent and you're born with a clean slate, which is the Islamic notion of karma, then I think you're totally responsible and you're totally free, of course within the bounds of laws of nature, to shape this life and to shape your life hereafter. Of course, not everybody is a Muslim, not everybody is a Christian, and different people, because of their observations and because of their thought processes and because of their intelligence, they believe in they believe in different notions of karma. And some don't believe in karma at all. So ultimately, it is up to you to decide which notion of karma you believe in. Thank you.